Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Super Quick Learn. In this video, we will be discussing everything you need to know about RDS, that is Relational Database Service, with respect to AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate exam. And also in the end, we will discuss some important points and exam tips. So stay tuned and let's get started. So first let's discuss in brief what is RDS. So RDS is a web service provided by AWS that makes it easier to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in AWS cloud. This is a managed service where AWS takes care of all the administrative tasks and provide cost-efficient resizable capacity for industry-standard relational database. So one important question is, why should we use RDS and not host a database on our own? If you are planning to host your own database, then you need to have server that has CPU, storage, IOPS as a bundle. But with RDS, you can scale these parameters independently. RDS also manages backup, software patching, automatic failure detection and recovery, which if you want to implement with additional database, then a lot of configuration and maintenance on your side. You can schedule automatic and manual backups on your RDS database. We will discuss in detail in the upcoming slides. Also, it gave option of primary and secondary, that is master slave configuration for high availability. That also we will be discussing. One important point to note, since this is a AWS managed service, AWS does not provide you shell level access, and it also restricts access to some system level procedures and tables. Now let's discuss what all type of DB engines supported by RDS. So these are MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server and Aurora. Aurora is a solution provided by AWS which has a different architecture compared to others. For different DB engines, you can also choose the version that you want to create instance of. Production is used for defaults, the high availability and fast consistent performance. Dev test template is for development environment. Free tier is to just if you want to gain some hands-on understanding of RDS service. Knowing the supported engines is important from certification point of view because just by knowing you can rule out few options in the RDS related questions if some other engine type is mentioned in the options. While creating RDS, very first thing need to configure is DB instance. This is the basic building block of Amazon RDS. This is an isolated database environment running in cloud. DB instance can contain multiple user created databases. You can use any SQL client application to access the RDS database instances. When you create a RDS instance, it creates a master user account and you have to set up the password for the same while creating the instance. Or you can choose auto generate password where AWS generates a password for you. Each DB instance has a DB instance identifier and it will be part of DNS host name allocated to RDS instance. DB instance identifier should be unique among all the instances owned by your AWS account. While the DB instance, you have to choose your database instance type and version and provide master username and password. Then you have to choose the instance class. Options available as standard, memory optimized and burstable performance. Standard is a general purpose instance class that provides a balance of compute, memory and network resources and a good choice for many applications. Various variants available are DBM5, DBM4, DBM3. And then memory optimized instance class is for applications that are memory intensive. Variations available are DB, Z1D, DBR5, R4, R3, M2, etc. And last one is burstable performance instance class that provides a baseline performance level with the ability to burst to full CPU usage. Various versions are DBT3 and DBT2. After you have provisioned your RDS database, you can change the CPU and memory available for the database. For storage, RDS use EBS volumes. Depending on storage requested while creating the RDS instance, RDS automatically create multiple RDS volumes. Three types of storage provided are general purpose, provision IOPS, and magnetic. General purpose SSD volume offer cost-effective storage that is ideal for a broad range of workloads. This volume delivers single-digit millisecond latencies and the ability to burst up to 3000 IOPS for extended period of time. Baseline performance for this volume is determined by volume size. Provisioned IOPS storage is designed to meet the needs of I/O extensive workloads, particularly database workloads that require low I/O latency and consistent I/O throughput. Amazon RDS also support magnetic storage for backward compatibility. Recommendation is to use either general purpose or provisioned IOPS for any new storage needs. The maximum amount of storage allowed for DB instance or magnetic storage is less than of the other storage types. You can also select storage auto scaling, which allow the storage to increase when certain threshold is exceeded. While creating a RDS instance, you can also choose the option of multi-AZ. In that case, RDS provides high availability and failover support for DB instances using multi-AZ deployment. It will create a standby DB instance in different AZ that can be converted to primary in case the master instance fails. For secondary or slave instance, replication happens synchronously, and this is an important point to remember. If you have a DB instance in a single AZ deployment and you modify it to a multi-AZ deployment, Amazon RDS takes several steps. First, Amazon RDS takes a snapshot of the primary DB instance from your deployment and then restore the snapshot into another availability zone. Amazon RDS then set up a synchronous replication between your primary DB and the new instance. This action avoids any downtime when you convert from single AZ to multi-AZ, but you can experience a performance impact during and after converting to multi-AZ. This impact can be significant for a large write-extensive DB instances. In the event of a planned or unplanned outage of your DB instance, Amazon RDS automatically switches to a standby replica in another availability zone if you have enabled multi-AZ. The time it takes for the failover to complete depends on the database activity and other conditions at the time of primary DB instance become unavailable. Failover time typically around 60 to 120 seconds. However, large transactions or a lengthy recovery process can increase failover time. When the failover is complete, it can take additional time for the RDS console to reflect the new availability zone. So the automatic switch from primary to secondary, that is through the standby replica, can be happen in the following scenario. If the complete availability zone outage happens, the whole availability zone is out due to some reason, or is the primary DB instance fail due to some reason, or if the server type is changed for the DB instance, then also primary will be down and it will be automatically moved to standby replica, or the operating system of the DB instance is undergoing some software patching, or you have done a manual failover of the DB instance was initiated using reboot with failover. So these are the various scenarios where there will be automatic rollover happens to the primary to secondary. When you are creating a RDS instance, you have to first choose the VPC in which the instance will be created, and then the subnet group. And you can select the option to make this RDS instance publicly accessible. You can also create a database while creating the DB instance, but this is an optional step. There are two ways you can take backup of your database. You can set up automatic backup or you can take manual backup. During backup, RDS creates a snapshot of storage volume and it backs up the complete database instance, not any particular database. There is a retention period for the backup, and during that retention period you can restore the backup at any point of time. Instance should be available state for taking the backup. Automatic backup happen daily as per the preferred window defined. Default retention period is 1 day if it is set up by API or CLI, and it is 7 days if it is done via AWS Management Console. Retention period duration is between 0 to 35 days. If you disable the automatic backup, then all the existing automatic backup will be deleted. Also, if you disable and then re-enable automatic backup, only able to store starting from the time you re-enable the automatic backups. The maximum number of retention automatic backup in an AWS region is 40. Retain automatic backup don't contain information about parameters or option groups. So you can also backup your instance manually. In that case, you have to create the snapshot manually. There is no automatic process. So the first snapshot of the DB instance that you create manually that contains the complete data of the DB instance. Any subsequent backup you take, that means any subsequent snapshot you take manually of that DB instance, it will be incremental, which means only the data that has changed after your most recent snapshot is saved. Manual snapshots are not deleted automatically. You have to delete them. Only then they will be removed. You can have up to 100 manual snapshots per region. So for automatic you can have 40 per region, but for manual you can have 100 snapshots per region. With Amazon RDS, you can copy automatic or manual snapshots. After you copy a snapshot, the copy is a manual snapshot. You can copy a snapshot within the same AWS region, or you can copy a snapshot across AWS regions. If you delete a source snapshot before the target snapshot become available, the snapshot copy may fail. Verify that the target snapshot is in the status of available before you are deleting the source snapshot. You can copy a snapshot that has been encrypted using an AWS KMS encryption key. If you copy an encrypted snapshot, the copy of the snapshot must also be encrypted. If you copy an encrypted snapshot within the same AWS region, you can encrypt the copy with the same KMS key as the original snapshot. But if you are moving it to another AWS region, you cannot use the same KMS key because KMS key are region specific. Instead, you must specify a KMS key valid in the destination AWS region. You also have an option to create a read replica of your RDS instance where data is replicated asynchronously, and that is useful for scaling beyond the compute or IO capacity for a single DB instance for read heavy database workload. So one important point to note here is read replicas can be used only for reads. You cannot do any write or delete on a read replica. So if you have a database which has a high read only load, then you can bring up some read replicas of your main database and route your read traffic to read replicas so that you can direct this access read traffic to one or more read replicas, serving read traffic while the source DB instance is unavailable. In some cases, your source DB instance might not be able to take IO requests, for example, due to IO suspension for backups or scheduled maintenance. In that case, you can direct read traffic to your read replicas. For this use case, keep in mind that the data of the read replica might be stale because the source DB instance is unavailable and the data replication is asynchronous. Business reporting or data warehousing scenarios where you might want business reporting queries to run against a read replica rather than your primary production DB instance. Implementing disaster recovery. You can promote a read replica to a standalone instance as a disaster recovery solution if the source DB instance fails. By default, a read replica is created with the same storage type as the source DB instance. However, you can create a read replica that has a different storage type from the source DB instance. You can promote a MySQL, MariaDB, Oracle, or PostgreSQL or SQL Server read replicas into a standalone DB instance. When you promote a read replica, the DB instance is rebooted before it becomes available. So this is all you need to know about read replica. In RDS, billing is calculated based on different factors. So these are DB instance are storage, IO request, provisioned IOPS, backup storage, and data transfer. So what is DB instance hour? So based on the DB instance class of the DB instance, pricing is listed on an per hour basis, but bills are calculated down to the second and show times in decimal form. RDS usage is built in second increments with a minimum of 10 minutes. Storage capacity that you have provisioned to your DB instance. If you scale your provision storage capacity within the month, your bill is prorated. Next is IO request. Total number of storage IO requests that you have made in a billing cycle. So this is only for RDS magnetic storage type. Next is provision IOPS. Provision IOPS rate regardless of IOPS consumed for Amazon RDS provision apps storage only. Provision storage for EBS volumes are billed in 1 second increment with a minimum of 10 minutes. Backup storage is the storage that is associated with automatic database backup and any active database snapshot that you have taken. Increasing your backup retention period or taking additional database snapshot increase the backup storage consumed by your database. Per second billing does not apply to the backup storage. Next and last one is data transfer. Data transfer in and out of your DB instance from or to the internet or in other AWS region. And RDS provides the following purchasing option. So as you know, RDS is backed up by EC2 instance. So you can optimize your cost based on your needs. So you can either have an on-demand instance or a reserved instance. So on-demand instance pay by the hour for the DB instance hours that you use. Pricing is listed on a per hour basis, but bills are calculated down on the second and show times in decimal form. RDS usage is now billed in 1 second increment with a minimum of 10 minutes. In case of reserve instance, you reserve a DB instance for a 1 year or 3 year terms and get a significant discount compared to the on-demand DB instance. With reserve instance usage, you can launch, delete, start or stop multiple instances within an hour and get the reserve instance benefit for all of the instances. So as EC2 you have different option when you bring up or start an instance. Similarly for RDS you have these options on demand and reserve. So far in this course is important from exam point of view, but these are some crucial points on which you might get some questions. With RDS, you don't get complete access to the database. So if in a question it is mentioned that the requirement is to get complete admin access to the database, then RDS is not the right option. Instead, you should go with hosting the database in EC2 instance. Another important point is you need to understand the difference between multi-AZ replication and the read replicas. Multi-AZ replication is for high availability. So if primary is down, only then standby replica will be active and data replication is done synchronously. Another important point is if you have multi-AZ enabled, then snapshot will be taken on the standby so that it won't impact the database performance. On the other hand, for read replicas, data is replicated asynchronously and it is used only for the read of data. You cannot write or you cannot do any action. So if you have a database which is high on the reading side, then you can utilize read replicas. Another important difference is read replicas you can set up in different region as well as in the same region, but multi-AZ, as name suggests, can expand multiple AZs in the same region. You also need to know all the DB engines supported and various factors on which billing is done. You might get some questions on this. Also, DB snapshot is incremental. So with each snapshot, only delta will be stored. Okay, so these are some important points that you should keep on top of your head while you are going for the exam. So guys, here our discussion ends. If you think this video helped you with AWS certification journey, then please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more videos on AWS certification preparation. If you have any feedback or looking for covering any topic, please comment and I will create a video on that topic. Thanks for watching. Bye.